Here's a question. You know how to make a Traxxas better? Put different parts on it.
Welcome to CK4RC.
Welcome back to the channel. I'm Chaz. This is CK4RC. Yes, that was a cheap shot at one of the leading brands in the hobby. And if you've seen any of my videos so far, you already know I'm not above making a bad joke. So here we are. I've got the TRX-4M High Trail, the good old blue Ford pickup edition. Love this thing. It looks so good. For my buddy at Sam over at Crawler Tracks. I have the Crawler Tracks shirt on. You can go to their website, go to Only RC's website. I have discount codes for all that stuff down in the description. Use the links, save money, get cool stuff, do all that. Now, to the point of the video, I have this box stock TRX-4M High Trail that is, it's really nice. I'm not going to bash it, but I am going to make it better. I have a new torque mountless servo for the TRX-4M. I have some Mofo RC wheel weights that I'm going to add to the front axle. And I have a brushless FuriTech system to upgrade the electronics in this thing. That's what I'm talking about. That's how you take a high quality, high trail and make it even better. So let me get to work and then let's see what this thing's capable of at the end. There we go. We've got the parts, we've got the high trail, and I recently just added a few more parts just to kind of finalize this build. So I've got some aluminum drive shafts from Injora, as well as aluminum steering link to go with the new torque servo, and some aluminum high clearance links just to kind of finish up this build. At least for now. I'll probably slap some shocks on here later. And then we've got the high trail, of course. Let's get this out of here because I've already swapped over the servo and I want to show you. So the torque servo, this thing is really good. It's really nice. So it's a lay down servo. It comes with this drag bar that attaches to the knuckle instead of directly to the front steering link. So that is included. The CNC machined horn is included. There's no servo mount because it's mountless. That's how that works. And this thing is just so much better, and it's buttery smooth. Plus it's lay down, so you're getting a little bit more weight down low instead of that weird standing up. It's got the rear exit wire, so it's not going to hit these front rails. There's no ears because there's no mount, and so you're getting full articulation here. Just a really nice design. Now, having said all that, when you install this, it is very important to know there are some plastic tabs. Let me see if I can get a good angle here. So you can see this hole right here. Maybe, can you? Right there. It attaches to this little plastic tab, if my finger's not in the way. You have to cut that tab down, otherwise it's too tall and the servo won't come down far enough and click into place. So you have to trim those tabs from off the axle on both sides, and then this just pops right down into place. It's super easy, just some side snips or whatever you have. You could probably even use like a hobby knife to just trim that off. It's not difficult, but it is necessary to be able to get the new torque servo to mount properly. So I want to make sure I note that. Now, having said all that, let me get to wrenching and start adding this hardware. And then we'll take this thing outdoors and get some nice beauty shots of it in action. How about that? Here we go. I have all my hardware swapped over, the stainless steel high clearance links, the stainless steel or aluminum drive shafts, front and rear. The aluminum steering link up here now with the drag bar that came with the torque servo. Everything's looking good. I have the Mofo weights on here, but I'm going to pause on swapping out the motor and the ESC for right now because I have found that this front is bound up. This one is rock solid. So this front is bound up real bad. Pretty nice free movement in the rear. This one is real sticky. And this one's just rock solid locked up. So I'm gonna have to tear this apart. I think it might be the Mofo knuckles that are causing some issues, but I'm gonna take these wheels back off and start tearing this back down a little bit and see what I need to do to get this freed up so I can take it for a test run. And then while I was at it, I went ahead and ordered some brass diff covers because that's always a nice touch as well. So just get some weight where I want it. But I think after that, hopefully I can get these wheels freed up and this thing should be good to go. So let me go do that. Took a little while, but I finally got it all sorted out. I took the brass knuckles off, I put the stock knuckles back on, I took those back off, I put the brass mofo knuckles back on, and what I found was actually completely user error, so I want to make sure I'm not making it sound like there were fitment issues with the mofo knuckles. It was completely my fault. There is a tiny little axle pin between this cup, well, let me get the camera sorted right, between this cup and this bushing, and it wasn't quite seated properly, and it has to be seated exactly right for the knuckle to slide all the way on, and I didn't have that on either side, so my knuckles were not quite lined up. And so then whenever I fastened them, it really caused some serious binding on the drivetrain. But that is resolved. You can see everything is turning freely now, just the way it should. So now I need to line up the servo. I need to get my FuriTech brushless system installed, get rid of the stock electronics up here, get rid of the old Titan brushed motor, and I think I'm going to throw in a receiver for the Dumbo RC DDF 350 and just upgrade my transmitter while I'm at it, because I'm getting rid of all this stuff anyway. I've got the micro, was it the Micro Python ESC right here, so I'll throw in that Dumbo receiver. And lastly, I think I'm going to go ahead and upgrade the shocks while I'm at it with some Nex Racing shocks. That's going to be my plan. I may actually have some laying around here, but if not, I'll get some on the way and swap those out. And then I think this thing's going to be good. I'm going to stick with the stock wheels and tires because well, the tires, these tires are fine. And I actually like the wheels on here, so I'm going to leave those as well. But yeah, so this is going to be my TRX-4M High Trail build, and this thing's gonna be a beast. So let me work on these electronics. We'll come back and we'll wrap this thing up with some good run footage. Here we go. All right, so we finally have this thing. It's not done, but it's done, and it's been a work in progress for sure. This thing has tested my patience a little bit, simply because I didn't have a clear vision when I started working on it. I had a few parts here, and then I was like, well, I might as well go ahead and add these parts while I'm doing it. So I had to order them and then wait for them to come in. And that went on like 4 different times. So anyway, here I am with my, for all intents and purposes, finished TRX-4M. Now, it's not completely finished. I don't have the receiver strapped down anywhere. But I wanted to go ahead and give you guys the rundown of what I went with. So I've got the Mofo RC brass diff covers on here. I really don't like the chrome plastic stock ones. They look silly because it's just a bright spot of chrome on a vehicle that's all blacked out otherwise. So I got rid of those, went with the black Mofo brass diff covers. I did go front and rear. I can swap out the rear one back to the plastic if I want to for weight displacement. And I've got the Mofo RC knuckles on there as well. And then obviously the steel or aluminum steering links, high clearance links, drive shafts front and rear as well. The Torque MLS 1026 servo up here, so everything has got a nice upgrade. I've got the Nex Racing oil shocks on here. Everything's looking good. I also went with the Nex Racing shock mounts on the front and rear, and I'm torn on these. I really want to use these because of just the tunability for the shock geometry and stuff like that. However, there's a couple things that I don't like about these. Since I mounted the shock towers, the body doesn't quite clip into place the way that it normally does. I can make it happen, but I have to force it, and I'm not crazy about that. And then also, so there's some clearance issues, but then also with the torque servo, the lay down servo. Now with the stock one, it stands up, so it's not as wide. But with the lay down servo, it spreads the footprint out widthwise. And so it fits just perfectly between the two shock mounts right there. because the shock mounts, as you can see, they come on the inside of the chassis rails. So a little bit of clearance issues. If you come in with some terrain and you come in off center, then you're going to have some hitting and some clearance issues. So I'm not crazy about that. And the other thing that I do like about the stock shock towers is the plastic ones. Although there's only one mounting option, it does have a plastic tray back here that I'd be able to use to mount my or to mount my receiver to, and just give me an option there. So I think I am going to swap the shock mounts back out for the stock ones. That's really going to be the last thing that I have going on with this thing. And then I've got the good old mini Komodo and the micro Python from FuriTech. So went ahead, upgraded the powertrain on this thing because the stock Traxxas electronics are meh. They are waterproof, so that's cool because these are not waterproof. But I don't really like running in water anyway. And with this, I can get rid of that awful Traxxas TQI transmitter. I went and upgraded with the Dumbo RC DDF350. This is my first rig using the DDF350 on, and I'm pretty pumped about it. This thing has a 10 model memory, so I'm really excited. I got the one with the foam thumb wheel because I just like foam on there. Super pumped about being able to use that. And because it's a FuriTech system, it's also 3S capable, so I can also use my Turnigy 3S batteries in this as well. This thing is going to be a beast. Nothing too flashy, except I just swapped out plastic for metal. Obviously, the motor and steering servo got massive upgrades. I'm not going to do anything fancy with the body. I am going to throw on a couple stickers, CK4RC stickers, and yes, I'm going to throw on a Crawler Tracks sticker on here as well, because without my buddies at Crawler Tracks, I wouldn't even have this thing. So definitely have to give them a shout out. But here is my TRX-4M. I took about as much of the Traxxas out of it as I could, and I'm going to go run this thing and see how it performs. So let me swap out these shock towers again, and let's get outside with this thing. Here we go. We are finally outside for the maiden voyage of the rebuilt TRX-4M. This is running the FuriTech Mini Komodo Micro Python brushless system with a Turnigy 3S battery. Here is the slow speed modulation on this. That is smooth as butter. And if I need a little bit more speed, there's top speed. And the nice thing about this is I get that wheel speed without having to change driving modes. Now let's get this thing on the course and see what it can do. That torque servo is just so fast. So strong and so fast. Wow. My steering's reversed. This is messing with me. All right, we'll get that sorted out. Let's get back to the course, to the task at hand. I want to see this thing take on the incline. Oh my gosh, there was nothing to it, but the breakover is what I'm really curious about here. I'm gonna take it nice and easy and just see what happens. Yeah. I had a feeling high pointing was going to be a problem. This obstacle is kind of designed for that. So let's see here. There we go. Just a little bit of power, a little bit of wheel speed. I don't know why I said wheel speed. Wheel speed is just speed. Oh, and there is all of the speed. See if I can drive out of the, oh my gosh, this thing is just so controllable. This FuriTech brushless system with this 3S Turnigy battery on here is just an absolute unit. It has no business climbing over that right there. That is actually really, really impressive. Oh, that's bound up pretty good. That's not good. But we are alive and well. Everything is still working properly. That was an insane climb. Let's see if I can figure out if there's a line to be had back here. This part of the course I never completely finished. It needs redone a little bit, and I haven't done it. So this is going to be quite a challenge. Yeah, this is... That little bit right there, it definitely needs some work. So we'll see if I can get it into some more precarious positions. Goodness gracious. I need to get to work back here. Ooh, I thought maybe I was gonna be able to pull that climb off. That would have been crazy. All right, I'm just gonna avoid that section of the course because that doesn't work. Go. The bridge is always super tricky, but I think with this new setup that I have here, I wasn't paying close enough attention by driving. I think I can take a different approach to it and just do something along these lines. That was actually really impressive. Oh my gosh. I cannot tell you enough. This thing is a beast. As I slowly roll it over. That was not slow motion. That was just me showing off my driving skills. That's what that was. And mind you, I'm still running stock wheels and tires on here just because I like the way they look. Tires are actually pretty solid. They're Mickey Thompson's. And the compound is nice. I'm pretty sure there's nothing inside of them. No foam, no inserts of any kind. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Yeah, we'll try this. Why not? Oh, wow. Just handled that. Coming up on the chute. The chute is a little bit off as well. I don't quite have the placement right on here. But let's see what the old High Trail's capable of here. It's a bad entry, but I think I might be able to make this work, actually. Uh-oh. Oh, wow. Oh my goodness. Wow. There we go, and I am so happy with the way this thing turned out. This 3S Turnigy battery really brought this beast to life. So pleased with that. The DDF 350 worked like a charm. This is a great radio. It feels so good in my hand. Just a quality unit right there. And this truck turned out to be an absolute beast. It had no business being as good as it is. I did go ahead and swap out the shock towers back to the stock plastic shock towers, and it frees up so much more clearance in the front. That makes a world of difference. And that 3S battery on this FuriTech brushless system was absolutely incredible. The weight down low kept this thing planted. That torque servo has all of the speed and the strength that you need. This build is awesome. So it's still the stock chassis, the stock axles, and the stock wheels and tires. That's it. The drawback to doing this swap is it's no longer waterproof. If that's your thing. That's not a really big factor for me, so I'm not that worried about it. The performance upgrade is totally worth it as in the way that I use the truck. So I could not be happier with that. But for other people, it might be a drawback. One of the perks about this swap is I can use whatever battery I want. I'm not limited or hamstrung by having to use Traxxas batteries, meaning I don't have to use a Traxxas charger because Traxxas, stop being so difficult. That's all I'm going to say about that. Anyway, what a phenomenal build. What an excellent truck. Tuck that wire up there. The only thing left is that interior when it comes in, just to hide the electronics in the window there, so that way you're not looking in and seeing the ugliness of that. But other than that, this thing is done, and I am so pumped with how it turned out. So leave me a comment down below. Well, there's the quadfecta. Comment down below. Let me know what you think. Have you built or modded a TRX-4M? If you have, what mods have you done? If you haven't, why not? What is stopping you from doing that? So there's your comments. Leave me a comment, like, subscribe, and share. That's the quadfecta. Keep doing RC stuff. I'll see you next time, and don't forget to become a member. Big time thank you to my members and channel partners, and if you would like to join the ranks, click on that join button for exclusive content, never before seen videos, early access to videos, and other exclusive content, pictures, polls, and having an active voice in what comes next on the channel. So appreciate the support. Click on that join button, and thank you so much to the channel members.